Hello, welcome to BCTD Now, the news video for the construction industry in America, wherever you may be and however you may be accessing this video. Thanks for the click. Jumping right in this week, March 26, 2012, with efforts by the Laborers International Union of North America in support of the highway bill currently in front of the U.S. House of Representatives. We briefly spoke about the passage by the Senate last week and how now it's up to the House to continue this rare but extremely important bipartisan bill to put America first. The laborers are doing their part to put pressure on Speaker John Boehner, launching a media blitz in his home state of Ohio. Their approach can be heard on the radio, warning motorists that until Congress passes the highway bill, that they're playing Russian roulette every time they drive across an unsafe bridge.
Unless we repair our roads and bridges, Russian roulette may as well be the national pastime. You see, the average lifespan of a bridge is 50 years, and the average age of our bridges is 45 years. That's a lot of accidents waiting to happen. How many people do you imagine will have to die before we repair our crumbling infrastructure? Because of tight budgets, maintenance of our bridges and highways is already in jeopardy. And if Republican leaders in Congress have their way, those budgets will get cut even more. It's time to fix our highways and bridges and get our country back on track. Text BRIDGE to 69866 and let House Speaker John Boehner know we need a real highway bill to save our bridges and our lives.
Message paid by Laborers International Union of North America.
Also included in the campaign, more than 100,000 mailers were sent to advise Ohioans on ways to survive a collapsing bridge. The message here, which the Building and Construction Trades Department wholeheartedly supports, is the time for political games is over. Pass the bill. To learn more, visit www.highwaybill.org. Over the past few months, we've introduced you to a shadowy right-wing group known as the American Legislative Exchange Council, or ALEC. ALEC is responsible for at least 1,000 bills every year, which are introduced at the state level, intended to suppress the middle class and give the upper hand to the upper class, including bans on project labor agreements and things like prevailing wage law restrictions. Well, ALEC is at it once again in what can only be described as voter suppression laws. Dozens of voter ID bills have been introduced in the state legislature over the past 2 years. And the most aggressive have been ones which place dramatic new burdens on the elderly, on students, and on low-income and minority citizens who want to participate in their constitutional right to vote. Studies show that approximately 11% of the voter-age population in the U.S. lacks government-issued photo identification. ALEC is pouncing on this stat to the dismay of civil rights activists. Recently, the Department of Justice extended its objections to these efforts in the southern states. The DOJ has the authority to do this under the Voting Rights Act of 1965. In December, a South Carolina introduced measure was defeated, and now the Obama administration has blocked a similar law in Texas. Despite all of this, ALEC wasn't deterred. A new front was opened up in Wisconsin. You're all shocked, I'm sure. Scott Walker at the source of things again, quickly becoming an ALEC Hall of Famer. Walker signed a voter ID law so extreme that many simply cannot believe it, calling it fraud, and is the subject of several lawsuits, including one by the League of Women Voters. But just last week, a Wisconsin circuit court ruled that this voter ID law was unconstitutional, thanks in large part to the suit brought by the League of Women Voters, a group this week that the BCTD applauds for their courage and effort. Finally this week, along with the building trade's long-standing commitment and involvement with the Helmets to Hard Hats program, we're stepping up once again for our servicemen and women, this time in Glastonbury, Connecticut. Last week, more than 60 members of the Healing Emergency Aid Response Team, or HEART 9/11, a group composed of veteran police officers, firefighters, and building and construction trade union workers, descended upon what will soon be the future home of Marine Corps veteran Manny Jimenez. Crews began working on Friday morning, framing the house, and on Saturday and Sunday, the roof trusses were put up, along with the roof itself, the siding, and the windows. Over the next several weeks, the electrical, plumbing, heating, air conditioning, electronics, and interior work will be completed. The lot where the home is being constructed was the former site of the Veterans of Foreign Wars Hall that burned to the ground in 2006. the town worked with an organization called Purple Hearts Homes, which builds handicapped, accessible homes for veterans. And they reached an agreement to sell the property for $1. Jimenez, a corporal in the 2nd Battalion, 6 Marines, and a squad leader in Afghanistan, lost his left arm, the hearing in his left ear, and partial sight in his left eye when a bomb was detonated nearby. So, here's a salute to Corporal Jimenez and to the men and women of the local building trades unions who participated in this supremely worthwhile project. Semper Fi indeed. And that's it for this edition. Remember, whether on your smartphone, tablet, or through your computer, on Facebook, or following President Ayers on Twitter, the building trades is always on. See you next week.